I done did a lot of things in my day. I admit it, I don't take back what I say. If I said it, then I meant it. All my life I won a Grammy, but I probably never get it. I ain't never had no trophy or no motherfucking ribbon. Fuck the system, I'm that nigga. Bend the law, cut the rules. I'm about to risk it all. I ain't got too much to lose. Y'all been eating long enough. It's my turn to cut the food. Pass the plate with my drink. This my day. Lucky you, what you do?
Hi, and welcome to the Computer Chronicles. I'm Stuart Chaffee. There's really only one mega celebrity in the computer industry, and that is Bill Gates. He's one of the best-known people in the world. He's one of the wealthiest people in the world, and he knows a lot about software in the computer business. He's also a bit of an enigma. It's hard to get a handle on what kind of guy he is. He seems a geek in some ways, a ferocious competitor in other ways. We recently had the unique opportunity to tape an exclusive interview with Gates. He was unusually relaxed and provided more insight than usual into how he thinks. Obviously, one thing Gates has been thinking about a lot these days is the Justice Department's antitrust suit against Microsoft. But Gates' big problem right now is not the competition, it is the government. John Gage of Sun Microsystems is one of Gates' biggest critics, and he supports the DOJ action.
Microsoft is the cash register. Microsoft can be the airline reservation terminal. Microsoft can be the place you buy and sell automobiles. Microsoft can threaten every insurance company. Microsoft's at this monopoly position far more pervasive than Standard Oil ever was, because the entire economy now depends upon these things working. That's the reason that the suit by the United States government is so important about business behavior, nothing to do with technology or innovation.
David Kirkpatrick of Fortune magazine says there is a growing body of evidence against Microsoft.
There is an increasing body of opinion, and government says evidence, that they have actually broken the law in the way they compete, and that they have used illegally heavy-handed tactics in, forcing people to exit from businesses that inconvenience them, and using their dominance to pressure companies to withdraw products or to slow down development or change development. If that's proven, I believe it ought to be stopped. The risks to Microsoft of the developing movement towards thin client computing and technology that will not be Windows-based, that will be disseminated far more ubiquitously in our lives. And people are talking about the world of 6 billion connected devices in a few years, and asking what percentage of those devices will be carrying a Microsoft operating system. And I think most people who ask that question presume that the answer is a fairly low percentage.
The other problem is, and challenge is for Microsoft, is that if you think about it, the requirements for software in embedded environments are that the software has to be incredibly small and incredibly reliable. And I would challenge anybody to think of a single Microsoft product in their history that you could ever have described as small and completely reliable.
Indeed, many of Gates' competitors would prefer that the market, rather than the government, deal with the power of Microsoft. Fortune magazine's David Kirkpatrick sees several negatives to the antitrust action.
One is that Microsoft does continue to be the engine of the technology industry in many respects, and the degree to which it gets slowed down really could slow down the entire industry. And number two, I think simply having the government meddling around in the technology industry could be a very bad precedent. Frankly, many people say that companies like Netscape have also done similarly heavy-handed things. Oracle, IBM, SAP. There are a number of very powerful companies in this industry that have been accused, rightly or wrongly, of using their dominance in unfair ways, and that the world really could move away from their model. You know, this is a company that was started with the vision of a computer on every desk and in every home running Microsoft software, and they've gotten pretty close to that. But if Palm Pilot is the device of the future, and little portable smart cell phones are the devices of the future that will not necessarily be running Windows, you know, their future profits may come more from server products, products that are at the core of the network computing architecture as opposed to at the periphery of the computing architecture. And if that's true, then NT is the product that is their future.
But John Gage doesn't quite agree. He says Gates still acts occasionally like an adolescent. And it is that part of Gates' personality that drove Sun to sue Microsoft over their use of Java.
So how do you change the behavior of a spoiled child? You either spank the child or you give the child candy. Well, so which direction were we going to take with Microsoft? We try both all the time. That's why we seem to be so strange in our dealing with Microsoft. Scott McNeely will attack Microsoft because that's the only way it seems to get their attention. And then with engineering, we worked very closely with Microsoft. They have wonderful engineers to work together to improve the technical capability of these systems. So we said, look, this time we're going to spank you.
But even John Gage agrees that we are seeing a more mature and statesman-like Bill Gates, and this new Bill Gates seems to be going back to his roots, his love for software.
I'm a specialist, and software is what I love, and so my life's work is at Microsoft, building great software. There is a question of when I should turn over the particular job title that I have today, CEO, to someone else. I can't imagine somebody who's 60 years old running Microsoft. I think it shouldn't be done. I can imagine a 60-year-old sitting around, helping out, maybe going back and writing a little code, being a nice guy, and I'm looking forward to it.
Gates is, has been, and always will be a fierce competitor in life as well as in business. Perhaps a final insight into the mind of this man who rules the software world can be gleaned from this anecdote as relayed by David Kirkpatrick.
Somebody here told me the story that they had once played ping pong with Bill Gates at his house and beat Bill 2 games in a row. And it was a party, a lot of his friends were there, and he came up afterwards to this guy with other people within earshot and said, "You humiliated me in front of my friends." And this guy's response was, "Well, get better," But the fact is, this is a guy that can't stand to lose at anything he does.
Bill Gates is a complex man, a man with great power and a man with great responsibilities. He has certainly left his mark on the world. It remains to be seen whether it is a passing mark or a failing one. Thanks for joining us on this special edition of Computer Chronicles. Hope we'll see you here again next time.
The world is a lie. Nothing is real.